Right thing for your career, right thing for your company. How to keep that in alignment coming up next. Hi, I'm Andy McCaskey from SDR News, and welcome to 10 Tenets of Leadership with Larry Pendergrass. We've got a great show here today and a very kind of a knotty topic to talk about, don't we?
Yes, we do. Actually, that's exactly right. This tenet is about doing the right thing for the company and not focusing so much on your career. And if you do this properly, it's my opinion that it will eventually work out very, very well for your career. So this is about aligning, making sure that you and the organization are well aligned and that you have the same agenda. It's about understanding what your personal agenda is, first of all, and knowing that people can tell if you have an agenda that's actually separate from the rest of the organization. Self-promotion, selfish motives, these things will all easily be seen. Let me just give you an example. If you see somebody across a crowded room and you see that those people are angry or happy with you, it's an example of how we are fine-tuned toward people's intentions. What we want to show continuously is that we are rowing in the same boat with other people in the organization, that we have the same agenda.
This sounds like basic ethics. Are you drawing a distinction here?
Well, I'm not trying to draw a distinction. We will talk a little bit about ethics and integrity in one of our upcoming tenets, but this is more about fidelity. It's more about making sure that what people see is the real person and staying true to that real person and focusing on having your personal agenda really aligned with the organization's agenda. It's really making sure that in every act that you show that you're not set apart from other people, but you have the interests of the organization at heart.
But isn't there still a difficulty in knowing what the right thing is?
I would say that it's usually not difficult if people are honest with themselves about what the right thing is. I think the more difficult thing is having the courage to do the right thing. And there are some great examples that we can talk about. We'll talk about one later in this segment. But certainly you've probably had situations in your career where you've had to have courage to stand up and say, this is the right thing for us to do. It may be a cancellation of a project that you've had that you have sponsored all along. So I would like to also mention that this kind of courage is the kind of courage that you would see in what's called a level 5 leader. This is a great term I really appreciate from Jim Collins, actually, in Good to Great. Great book if you haven't read that one. A level 5 leader has a personal humility that they have, that they're, again, focused on what's right for the company and not for themselves. They have inspiring standards. They're leading by those standards rather than charisma, and people can see those standards in the way they do their business. It's about an understanding of the window and the mirror. In other words, when things are going well, the level 5 leader looks through the window and appreciates the other people in the organization that have really made this happen. And when things go bad, that same leader will look in the mirror and understand what responsibility they have in the failure. It's an unwavering resolve toward what they're trying to accomplish, and it's having standards for creating an enduring company. These are characteristics of the level 5 leader that Jim Collins describes.
What about an example from your career?
Well, actually, I think all of us, again, have been challenged in one way or another. Probably the one that comes to mind most strongly was a time when I'd taken actually a step out of management for a while and was working as a senior engineer again. And we had a significant reliability problem at this company. And it was probably the worst that I had ever seen. It turned out to be a combination of a design flaw and a problem in a component, and that perfect storm produced a terrible, terrible problem. We had significant high-level customers that were upset with us about it, and there was a visit by one of those customers. There was a large amount of money for new sales or possible return sales, and about 15 minutes before I was asked to go in and give a status update, and one of our sales guys came to me and said, I just want to let you know that you need to go in there and tell everybody that this problem is fixed.
So there's some significant financial impact as far as how that news was delivered and how it might be received.
Exactly. In fact, it was tens of millions of dollars for a single order, $100 million in the near future, depending on how this came out. The result was I was put on the spot, and I had to make a decision. The decision I made was to stick to my guns, which is we have not solved this problem. We are hot on the trail, and we will take care of you, Mr. or Ms. Customer, through this, and we'll hold your hand through this problem. But we haven't solved the problem yet. It turns out after that meeting, we were strongly applauded by the customer for our honesty. In addition, as I talked to my managers about this situation, my managers, as I expected them to, completely supported my position. And in fact, there was actually a reprimand, which I didn't really intend, for that sales person, just to correct him and make sure that he understood what we stood for.
What sort of reading resources would you recommend for this tenet?
Well, we just talked briefly about the book Good to Great. I think I could certainly recommend that. You may have read this one before. It's always worth another look through. But specifically this time, as you go through this wonderful book about what makes great companies, you might pay attention to the comments there about level 5 leaders.
Level 5 leaders and the courage to follow up and do the right thing for the company, and that'll turn out to be the right thing for your career. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Next week, we're going to be talking about encouraging innovation within the organization.